fiendish paradises. Beyond the skin of reality lies the realm of chaos, a metaphysical dimension given form by raw emotion and mortal passion. Each of the dark gods hold court here, ruling over their own twisted kingdom. Slaanesh's domain is entirely dedicated to the pursuit of sin, its every glittering extremity designed to lure the weak-willed and ensnare the corrupt in a tangled web of their own vices. The core of the Dark Prince's territory consists of 6 subdomains, arranged in concentric rings around the mythical Palace of Pleasure, seat of his power. Known as the Circles of Seduction, each represents a different aspect of Slaanesh's unnatural desires. Though they would appear wonderful places at first glance, these circles have trapped and consumed countless souls over the ages, their hypnotic allure drawing in trespassers like moths to a flame. Many of the Dark Prince's living champions experience lucid visions and shivering fever dreams of the circle that most embodies their own perversions. These faithful souls believe that if they dedicate themselves to unrestrained excess, they'll earn a place in this hellish paradise at their master's side. Some achieve precisely this, though the reward is rarely as gratifying as they imagined. The Circle of Avidity. Greed is a trait much beloved by the Dark Prince, and it is embodied in the first of his palatial domains, the Circle of Avidity. Here, the very ground is fashioned from sparkling, multifaceted jewels. Precious statues stand at every crossroads, and stacks of gleaming coins reach as high as mountains. This unrivaled splendor is marred only by the presence of dirty, scrabbling wretches who pick their way through the shimmering trove, sifting through the golden coins and agates. It is said that the Dark Prince offers the gift of demonhood to whoever can calculate the true value of his hoard. Thus, the sallow, cruel-eyed seekers painstakingly place these treasures into teetering piles, adding more and more until the heaps inevitably collapse, and they are forced to start counting from the beginning, weeping and wailing in frustrated madness. The Circle of Gluttony. Pressing further into Slaanesh's domain, one comes across a dark lake of blood-red wine. In its midst are several pallid islands, formed from the bloated bodies of half-submerged titans, and linked by a series of crisscrossing bridges. The hands of these giants hold up feasting tables that groan under the weight of the sartorial delights and fragrant sweetmeats piled atop them. The inhabitants of these isles are wide-eyed, swollen mortals who gorge themselves on the never-ending banquet. Unable to stop, they force food down their gullets until their skin tears apart, and they join the grisly offal and picked clean skeletons strewn about the ground. Others lie slumped upon the shores of the lake itself, gulping down its crimson waters. Glutos, or Cillian, the Grand Gourmand and Slaanesh's foremost gastromatic sorcerer, travels here on occasion to try out his latest vile recipes, which are always rapturously received by the Circle's indulgent hosts. The Circle of Carnality. Should one manage to cross the Lake of Gluttony, the land will turn verdant and delicately beautiful, with the swaying fields of golden wheat illuminated by the orange haze of late summer. Here, lithe and gorgeous beings of every gender and form dance and sway their shapely bodies covered by wisps of silk. This is the Circle of Carnality, where every sensual desire is taken to terrible extremes, and the air is thick with hallucinogenic musk of writhing, tentacled beast things. The mortals who find themselves here are bewitched by dancing demons who approach them to stroke their skin and mutter breathy promises of the carnal pleasures they can offer. Yet, those not entirely blinded by lust might glimpse a flash of needle-sharp teeth or hungry, bloodshot eyes as they see past the demon's subtle illusions. These beings are predatory monsters as foul as any chaos-warped monstrosity. And once they tire of toying with their prey, they will consume them, body and soul. The Circle of Paramountcy. The sin of pride dominates the next of Slaanesh's subrealms, the Circle of Paramountcy. This appears as a wondrous city of gold and marble, with impressive plazas and soaring towers. Passing through this urban maze, the traveler can hear their name whispered on the breeze, with awed adulation. As they step onto the sweeping balcony that overlooks the city below, they are met by a great audience of worshippers, roaring their love and approval. Vast armies snap into formation and salute, eagerly anticipating their liege lord's words of wisdom. Kings, nobles, and wise men bow and scrape, many of them bearing the face of those whom the traveler was scorned by in a past life. Now, all bound to their new master, who assumes total control over this strange fiefdom. Yet, even as their every decree is enacted with rapturous delight, the traveler feels a terrible paranoia seeping into the back of their mind, a gnawing suspicion that they are being mocked or betrayed by their smiling audience. These hidden doubts swiftly fester and spoil, inspiring even crueler acts of tyranny that damn and curse one's soul forever and render all their achievements hollow. The Circle of Vainglory. Beyond the realm of false supremacy lies the Circle of Vainglory, a maze of wooded pathways thick with scented flowers, yet riddled with sharp thorns. Memories drift upon the air here, whispers of past glories and hardest earned and sweetest victories of the traveler's life, including, notably, those circles they have already conquered. The further one strides into this place, the more prideful their heart becomes, as mirrored pools and fountains reflect a shining ideal of their future self. Most mortals become transfixed by these images, unable to tear their eyes away from the glittering potential futures, even as barbed vines coil around their limbs, trapping them fast and piercing their flesh. The only way to escape the Circle of Vainglory is to meditate upon one's flaws, humiliating defeats, and ultimate irrelevance. Such thoughts are foul to the whispering thorn demons that dwell here, and they recoil and open a path to the last of the great circles. The Circle of Indolency. Leaving the domain of self-glorification, the traveler finds themselves walking along an endless white sand beach. Already exhausted from their terrifying odyssey, those who venture this far are further becalmed by the melodies of angelic choirs drifting across the dunes. The sound of perfumed waters lapping at the shore inveigles its way into the mind, shrouding the traveler's thoughts and robbing them of any sense of purpose. Their body becomes as heavy as sodden bag of flour, and the skies above radiate waves enervating contentment. Only those who possess a superhuman will can avoid slumping to the ground, the energy gushing out of their body in a form of a rattling sigh as they abandon all ambition and simply embrace oblivion. A few maintain clarity enough to see the dreadful truth written beneath their feet. The bone-white sand is made from the remains of those who rested here and fell into a coma of blissful inactivity. The Palace of Pleasure. Should a traveler stagger free from the soporific beaches of the Circle of Indolency, they'll finally look upon a soaring structure in the distance, an impossibly tall and an ornately sculpted fortress palace, standing atop a twisted pillar of rock, its parapets and towers intertwined like writhing serpents. This is the Palace of Pleasure, the Dark Prince's grand residence. To set foot inside its marble walls is to experience heights of decadent luxury that cannot be imagined by mere mortals. Slaanesh may be nowhere to be found, but even without the Lord of Sin to conduct his wild bacchanals, his royal chambers still echo the screams and shrieks of demons as they indulge their every deranged urge. The gardens and orchards of the Dark Prince's palace are a carnival of vice and torture, where Slaanesh's favored fiends toy with captured prisoners and feast upon wines and sweet meats harvested from the Circle of Gluttony. Passing through the interior of the fortress, one enters an unimaginably opulent mansion, lining each winding corridor with gilded doors decorated with obscene images. Gasps, screams, and piercing bursts of insane laughter emanate from behind them as all manner of sordid acts are enthusiastically practiced. Further on, one comes to a great toroidal hall known as the Temple of Twisted Mirrors. Here, every surface is hung with a looking glass that reflects one another until a point of infinity. This was once Slaanesh's favorited place of introspection, for these mirrors distort the image of the viewer in every conceivable way, some reflecting them as a being of angelic purity, others as their darkest possible incarnation. No mortal or lesser demon gazing into these cursed portals could ever look away. For all its heady thrills, the Palace of Pleasure is a shadow of its former glory without the Dark Prince's corrupting presence. Many of the sanctums and hidden chambers within lie empty and silent, home to nothing but the lingering musk of orgies past. A garrison of Slaanesh's favorite handmaidens and retainers await their master's return, anticipating the glorious depravity that will ensue when that day arrives. And that's the Circles of Slaanesh. Where do you think you'd get stuck at? Do you think you'd make it all the way to the Pleasure Palace? I know I wouldn't. Probably Gluttony at the very farthest I'd go. But it's a cool little thing. I would love to see like a Dante's Inferno style like exploration of the realms, so there's more detail in what it's like. That'd be really cool. It's fun seeing stuff like Malice Darkblade when he's being influenced and corrupted by the Demon of Slaanesh and his Slaaneshi worshipping sister in the books, kind of going through these same realms that he has to fight through. I don't believe he was actually in the realm of Slaanesh, but just to get through the like conditioning that they put on him with magic. That was cool. I really do hope they expand it and show us more of the realm. I don't know that they will, because it's kind of supposed to be a little mysterious and unknowing. But, you know, we can always hope and dream. Well, I appreciate you listening. Leave a like, subscribe maybe. That'd be cool. All right, y'all have a great day. Thank you.